quite isolated for the mainland, really.
Well, thank you,
Was
man. Now I
is
got an
called
extra little
walls, but it really
fun thing I can
means
do in the
inlets of the
stream.
sea, and it's
Woohoo!
one of these things that the
I can
army
watch
met
you
in the
too while
maps
I'm
got
streaming if I'm
confused
taking a
with,
break. I can pop you in
and
here
they
too.
put down the word
It's
walls. So
perfect.
when you say I come for walls, you feel as if it's sticking in your mouth because you come for was. Anyway, that had a fundamental effect on me, being brought up in a pretty crafting fishing community.
Indeed, you definitely did help.
My childhood. When I come away to Edinburgh, where I bide now, and I'm bidding for 50 years, I found Edinburgh really quite awe-inspiring and quite scary. And of course, I had to be careful who I spat because I had to speak English. We learned to speak English at school, of course. We had to be bilingual and no be rude. But I did miss not being able to speak in my NY. I think when I realised later on that the chances of me going home was likely brawly slight, I thought, I found a release in writing in Shetland dialect. It was a pretty bit difficult to write in the dialect because we never learned to read or write it. It was kind of mainly spoken. There was a dictionary, there was ways of writing it, but we never learned it formally, so we had to kind of
Learn.
just manage ourselves.
Never learn. Learn. It does. It does. Learn. It's like the R disappears. Like it's still there. I can hear the R, but it like disappears. Learn.
But anyway, I started writing subversively in Shetland dialect. And then as I wrote more and was moving among folk interested in poetry, then they became aware of that. And I found that they quite liked it, and that was really quite strange. I thought they would find it awful queer. So I wrote more and enjoyed doing that. And as time's gone on, I'm written more and more. I would say no, I wrote about half and half, maybe even more as half in the Shetland dialect, or Shetlandic, and the rest in English. And it's been translated into kind of languages, which to me seems bizarre and extreme. I thought I might read this poem. It's mostly in English, because it's about the relationship between language and dialect. I had been working with two Nordic poets, an Icelandic poet, and his poem was about a bird.
That's a language I want to learn. Icelandic. That's on my list. That's on my list of languages. The source material though is a little bit difficult to find. Plus, I already got so many languages on the go. I can't stuff another one in right now. So, but it's one I'm aiming for eventually. Yeah, it definitely difficult, definitely. But it does preserve a lot of things you see in Russian though, which I find pretty cool. Showing how if you go far enough back, these languages used to be really connected to each other. Just like in the North Germanic languages, they still say "ja," right, for like I, yeah, just like the Russians do, right? Yeah. So I find that so cool how it's all connected with all the Indo-European languages. You know, not only in like the Romance, Germanic, Slavics, but then when you go even further back to the greater families, right? They still have similarities and a nerd out.
The snipe, and the Icelandic word for the snipe is the hrossagakar. And the Shetland word for it is horsgok. And I'd been working with a Norwegian poet, and his poem was called Hegri Hoiden, which is about the bird called the heron. And the Shetland word for a heron is a hegri. And I thought that was quite interesting. Anyway,
That is
it starts
interesting.
off in English. It's a kind of a manifesto. Spelling it out. It's the way a cat fawns, a bird flaunts, a dog recoils and whimpers. It's the way a cricket chooses from his bag of chirpings, or a whale sends a long-distance message. It's the way our forefathers moved to the forest floor, and in the tonality of their vocal cords said, I and you in 1,000 different ways, picked up the grammar of polemic and persuasion, the lexicon of lewd and lovely, the tenses that made sense of time past and time to come. It's the borders, armies, and classes that corner the limits of language, patois or
It
pidgin,
is.
colloquial or Kailyard, vernacular or slang. It's the famous thesaurus that suggests 3 meanings for dialect, other than dialect and language: speciality, unintelligibility, and speech defect. It's the funding that flows from decisions. It's the boundaries and commissions that decide that pub is kosher in Norwegian, but only if pronounced pub. That Herren Heights and Hegri Hoiden is both
Let's go to the
languages,
pub.
but Hegri Heights is dialect. That Rossa Gawker and Snipe is language, but Horse Gawk is dialect. It's the passion we had when we nun to ourselves, when we ball sun for our bosey into the heavens, when we lay a word of love upon een another, when we done a budder with narrow definition. A little bit of anger comes out there at the end of that poem, I suppose. But it's true. I mean, the politics of language and dialect is something I'm interested in, and the status. And I think
Who said it? If you've heard this before, let me know. But the difference between a dialect and a language is the military behind it. I've always thought that to be so true because, well, I know from German, I know Italian has this as well, but like in German, there's so many different dialects, right? But High German is the state dialect, and it's the one that has the military behind it, so it's the one that's official. And I thought that was so powerful with the politics behind it, like she said. So, but yeah, that's a lovely poem.
it's important that we don't let bairns think that their mother tongue is somehow debased language, that we lift them up and encourage them into bilingualism where they're comfortable and they can when they speak one Y and then a t'other Y. And that's something I'm very interested in.
I agree with her.
It's funny that I'm just being made Edinburgh's Macker or Poet Laureate, which I think is really...
Well, I'll take Canada for example. I got this in it's always bugged me, and I'm a little bit ashamed to say this. When I was a kid, I didn't care about the French accent or French language. French accent. Oh, oui, oui. No, the French language when I was a kid. But Canada is officially a bilingual country, and that means it has 2 official languages. And I think all citizens of Canada should learn, if they're both official languages, they should learn both languages. Every Canadian should speak French and English growing up. I don't think one should trump over the other. And then for the more endangered languages that are in Canada, because there are a few, they should be taught in their local communities, right? Alongside French and English, but they should be taught in their the opportunity too, yeah. For sure. At least the opportunity, sure. But in the local communities, they shouldn't be afraid to lose their dialects either. And I agree with her. They should be encouraged, or else we're gonna lose a lot of interesting tongues around the world.
Quite astounding, really, given that I'm Kent as a Shetland writer, and that I am quite passionate about it. I suppose I haven't been here for 50 years and I do write in English, but I feel it gives me a bit of space to write and to help other folk that's come into the city with minority cultures and folk that maybe feel their language is subservient and no so good as, and I hope I can maybe help them
Agreed.
feel good about their mother tongue. Maybe I should just read another pretty poem. This ain't totally...
No, I agree with you there. Yeah, we should definitely respect language diversity. Like, I understand the need of a common tongue in a country, right? Like every country needs a common tongue, or else you're going to have a lot of problems with government, travel, roads, business, things like that. But having a common tongue shouldn't remove the other languages, the less spoken languages, the less common languages.
In dialect. It's kind of discontinuity. And it's just, I suppose, a kind of seize the day poem. It's about relationships. If you're like me, you gang along a beach and you pick up a stone and you hit a tack at home with you kind of bear naughty. But this time I was walking on a beach in Shetland. There was a beautiful, perfect heart-shaped stone, but it was brally big. And I couldn't get it on the plane home. So I patted up high on the cliff face, hoping that it would maybe still be there when I got back.
You got it right there.
The title, Discontinuity, is a geological term, but you're likely kind at. And it means the juxtaposition of rocks of different ages or types. And there are places in Shetland where you can put one foot on the Eurasian continent and another foot on the American continent, which is quite fun.
Wait, what? No way. Hey, look, you can still see the browser. Now, if I go to Google Maps. So, hey, you can see all the areas I've traveled to. Look at Armenia, Tbilisi, Georgia, Bulgaria, Grzia, Albania, Chernogora, Serbia, Austria, Polska, Mexico, Texas, and a lot of Canada. But anyways, where's Eurasia and where's America? Where's that line? Yeah, she would be very soothing to talk to. Yeah, that's what my friends always say here in Georgia. They're always like, "Hey, you should go to Turkey." Um Yeah, I think one day I'll go there. Maybe. As a Canadian, I need a tourist visa, and that's pretty much the only thing that's been putting me off. It's not a difficult thing to get by any stretch of the means. It's just an extra process that I have to go through. Um if this was before Justin Trudeau was the prime minister, I would have just hopped right over to I would have just been able to hop in a car and go down there with my Canadian passport. But it's ever since Justin Trudeau got in, we need a tourist visa to visit Turkey. So, um, yeah, really, I need a visa to visit Turkey. So, or sorry, Turkey. So yeah, that's pretty much because Justin Trudeau is not a good world leader, and he's been really putting Canada in the back burner, and a lot of countries don't respect him. Before he came into power, we had 182 countries that we could get in with our passport. And then after he came into power, we now only have access to 140 countries visa free. So he trouts a lot of whether people believe it or not, it's not the problem, but he's very on the woke side of things in this world. He really believes in that leftist wokeism, which is fine for his beliefs, but I think a lot of the world leaders didn't like that he was trying to virtue signal them and push it down their throats. And that made a lot of world leaders not like Canada and Justin Trudeau, and it therefore affected us as Canadians. And we lost the right to enter, 42 countries visa free. So it's a bummer, but what can I do? I left Canada. Uh, That's a long story for another day and not for a gaming language channel. That's more of a political thing, but I left Canada for a lot of different reasons. Number one, for adventure. I'll always say it was adventure first, but yeah, there's things that make it easy not to go home. Let's say that. But anyways, let's finish up what she's saying and get back to slaying some demons.
20 words to help you. A sandy loo is a ringed plover, that lovely pretty bird that trips across the sand. Sandy loo. Wimmeren is just trembling. If you're greeting, you're crying. And the lunnebrak is that surge and breaking of the waves on the shore. Discontinuity. I could blame the way the sea is smooth the stains, the silke touch, the wailing, leaving, and will the heart be there when I come back? Or I could blame the sandy loo. He was clear quite white the ging, dis why nu, nae looking ower your shoulder, tide dus na wet. See the way the swallow joy is drained, dance the day, the morn you slip into eternity. Or I could blame the hush it fills you till you like to burst wi' a' the words that could be said, but you had back. It's what happens when you step in time, but sense a fault line wimmering through you, this side or that. Only the sea can greet and sing at the same time, shade and light, cobalt, ultramarine, and then the lunnebrak, a ties a fresh white.
Yeah, having tea with her would be great. Just have tea and then let her read you poems. That would be a lot of fun. It is. It truly is. It really, really is. It's a weird mixture for sure. Hey, look at it. There's us right now. Hey.